advantage. Get a free voice-activated Motorola phone after an instant $100 car toys rebate. And now get free long distance with 500 voice stream whenever minutes and unlimited weekend minutes for just $39.99 a month. Don't miss Car Toys pre-Thanksgiving wireless sale.
Car Toys. Better way to go.
CDC Secrets, A Star's Home, plus Jennifer and Brad next, BT.
Hitting more Taliban troops. U.S. bombing intensifies. Afghan rebels say that's more like it. It may help break the Taliban's back. Locking the gates. A sweeping new U.S. immigration crackdown aimed at keeping terrorists out. As a fourth anthrax victim dies, investigators still scrambling to find out how she got it. Eye on America. Security versus constitutional rights, as hundreds are held without charge in what's called a terror dragnet. And Halloween in a nation where this year fear is very real.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York.
Good evening. The war against the terrorist mass murderers intensified today. U.S. heavy bombers blasted Taliban troops in what appears to be the start of a new phase in the campaign. The Pentagon said it will need additional troops to get the job done, announcing it will call up more than the 50,000 reservists it originally anticipated. And on the front lines in Afghanistan, anti-Taliban forces got the kind of help they've been pleading for. CBS's Jim Axelrod was among United Front fighters as they watched and cheered the frontline action.
It's the most intense attack seen so far on the front north of Kabul. American B-52s carpet-bombed Taliban locations today. The series of smoke plumes stretched side by side for more than a quarter mile.
Thank you, thank you.
The thanks from the Mujahideen is for the kind of bombing the United Front's been seeking for weeks now. The kind that shook the hills bordering Bagram Air Base with bunker-busting bombs designed to target Taliban ground troops. In the last week, the United Front had been stepping up its rhetoric, pressing for exactly what was seen today, a more sustained and systematic attack, and for more coordination with the United States in determining targets, especially on this front, roughly 20 miles north of Kabul. The United Front says it's been building up troop strength here to match the Taliban's massing of soldiers on the front. The United Front now claims to have between 8,000 and 10,000 troops on the northern front and has been saying that if it gets more of the kind of air support they saw today, it could break through Taliban front lines and be in the capital in 4 to 5 days.
To see the continuation of this sort of campaign for days, some days more, then you will see a crack amongst the Taliban units, amongst the Taliban forces.
Today, a United Front spokesman said U.S. ground troops will not be involved in any push to Kabul. In his words, every day Americans bomb the front lines. Now we should do something, he said. Jim Axelrod, CBS News, Jabal Sarraj, Afghanistan.
U.S. warplanners have warned repeatedly that the Afghanistan campaign could be a long one, yet they feel growing pressure for clear results, some triumph over the Taliban. The best would be capturing or killing Osama bin Laden. But first, as CBS's David Martin reports, Osama bin Laden has to be found.
The Pentagon is sending 2 new types of spy planes to seek out Taliban targets in Afghanistan. One is the still experimental Global Hawk, an unmanned reconnaissance vehicle which can fly at altitudes of 65,000 feet and stay up for a day and a half. The other is called J-Stars, a giant radar plane specifically designed to track moving targets on the ground. The 2 aircraft should increase the effectiveness of the airstrikes and the chances of finding and killing Osama bin Laden. With a $7 million reward on his head, there are plenty of people who claim to know where bin Laden is. Most of the tips put him somewhere between Kabul and Kandahar.
I've seen many reports over the last numbers of days, I haven't counted it, where people attribute Osama bin Laden either was or may have been.
But getting a report, checking it out, and actually attacking the suspected location all takes time, time in which bin Laden can get away. The U.S. is trying hard to give him as little time as possible.
Before the war started, the CIA actually spotted bin Laden with an unmanned reconnaissance vehicle called the Predator. Now that predator is armed with missiles so it can take a shot if it ever sees him again. It already has fired at several convoys, including one belonging to the Taliban leader, Mullah Omar. The Air Force is also operating predators over Afghanistan. They are unarmed, but they can feed their video straight to an AC-130 gunship capable of firing thousands of rounds per minute. The Air Force has also kept an F-15 Eagle armed with a 5,000-pound bunker-busting bomb on strip alert in Kuwait. Like the rest of the war, the U.S. does not lack for firepower in its hunt for bin Laden. What it needs is better intelligence. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
In the latest attempt to tighten security on the home war front, U.S. Attorney General John Ashcroft announced a huge immigration crackdown. It's aimed at alleged supporters of dozens of terrorist groups. And today's terror watch didn't stop at the border, as CBS's John Roberts reports.
In New York, a third day of high alert and tight security at bridges and tunnels. In Chicago, a no-fly zone declared around the Sears Tower. And in Washington today, a declaration that terrorists will never again take advantage of America's openness.
America will not allow terrorists to use our hospitality as a weapon against us.
Attorney General John Ashcroft today vowed to close the border to supporters of 46 groups he wants added to the State Department list of foreign terrorist organizations. And he promised anyone suspected of planning or aiding in terrorism will be taken off the streets. It is the most sweeping crackdown since the Kennedy Justice Department declared it would arrest a mobster for spitting on the sidewalk if it would aid the war on organized crime.
In the war on terror, it is the policy of this Justice Department to be equally aggressive.
But labeling terrorists hasn't stopped them from entering the U.S. in the past. Ayman al-Zawahiri, bin Laden's right-hand man, has long been on the list, yet managed to hold fundraisers for al-Qaeda at California mosques. And the Palestinian group Hamas had regularly collected funds in the United States. The need for new measures to round up terrorists was driven home again today. A Seattle hazmat team was forced to board a Northwest Airlines flight from Tokyo after an alarm that anthrax might be on board. 2 passengers were detained for questioning, but there was evidence of neither anthrax nor terrorism. And even as he announced his crackdown today, the Attorney General acknowledged on the anthrax front, his department is all but stumped.
We don't have progress to report at this time.
As the circle of anthrax infection continues to widen, White House officials conceded today it is frightening that someone is trying to kill Americans by spreading anthrax through the mail. And it is a source of frustration that the more investigators learn about these anthrax cases, the more it appears they don't know. Dan?
Live at the White House, John Roberts. A New York City hospital worker today became the 4th person in this country to die this month of inhalation anthrax. Her case, more than any other, is adding to public fright because medical detectives are baffled about how she became infected. CBS News medical correspondent Elizabeth Caledon reports tonight it is forcing them to rethink some basic assumptions about anthrax.
Manhattan's Eye, Ear, and Throat Hospital remains sealed off tonight, the epicenter of an unsettling medical mystery that has health officials as baffled as the public is alarmed. New York City's mayor is appealing for calm and perspective.
One case. We're talking about one case.
But it's one case of inhalation anthrax and now one death that follows no obvious pattern. Dr. Anthony Fauci of the National Institutes of Health admits it's cause for concern.
It may turn out ultimately to fit into the pattern, but it doesn't look that way right now, and that's the reason why we need to intensively investigate it.
The woman who died, 61-year-old Kathy Nguyen, lived alone on this quiet street in the Bronx. She liked to shop, cook for her neighbors, and she worked nights in the hospital stockroom. How she could have come into contact with enough anthrax spores to kill her is anybody's guess. Specimens taken from the hospital and her home have all come back negative so far. And since she was too ill to speak before dying, detectives, both clinical and criminal, are reconstructing her every move.
The investigators are looking at every possible way that she may have come in contact with anthrax.
The case has forced a re-evaluation of what we know about anthrax.
This is a moving target and an evolving situation.
Investigators are now considering the possibility that there can be cross-contamination in the mail, meaning a letter containing anthrax spores could somehow leak those spores onto other mail.
Among many possibilities arises the the possibility that this person may have been exposed by a letter that was delivered to her. There's no proof of that.
It is just as possible that the anthrax did not come from the mail at all. In fact, there is little proof of anything tonight, except that anthrax has claimed another life, and health officials are in uncharted waters. Elizabeth Caledon, CBS News, New York.
The already struggling U.S. economy took a battering from the September 11th attack on America, and today the government reported that the economy stopped growing in the July through September quarter. The gross domestic product declined, in fact, for the first time in more than 8 years. That news brought a new call from President Bush for Congress to pass his economic stimulus package. The hang-up is over where the money should go. Who's going to get it? Republicans are pushing tax cuts for businesses that would also help some of the wealthier Americans. Senate Democrats say there will be no deal unless it includes an extension of unemployment benefits and health insurance for the jobless. Wall Street had a mixed reaction to the GDP numbers. The Dow closed down 46. The Nasdaq gained 22. CBS's Anthony Mason reports tonight on what could be the end of an era for the U.S. economy.
For a record 10 years, the nation's economy roared forward, but it now appears that historic growth period is officially over.
Today, there's some news out on our economy, and it confirms that the events of September the 11th have really shocked the nation.
In the 3 months ending in September, GDP, the broadest barometer of the nation's economic output, fell 0.4%, the sharpest contraction in more than a decade.
This definitely confirms that we were already in a recession in the third quarter and that it can only get worse in the fourth.
Worse because both consumers and businesses continue to cut back on spending. Business investment in equipment and software, for example, fell almost 12% between July and September, the third straight quarterly decline.
Clearly, the terrorist attacks have made businesses more cautious, and they are less likely to spend money now.
The slide in business spending alone cut more than 1.5% from the GDP, enough to tip it into the red.
But the main story is still the consumer.
It's consumer spending that powers 2/3 of the economy, but it's cooling, says John Hancock's Bill Cheney, because confidence, already fragile before September 11th, has plummeted since the attacks.
Given that the consumer was the only thing keeping the economy afloat, we ended up starting to sink.
A recession is usually defined as 2 consecutive quarters of economic contraction. If so, we're now halfway there. Many believe a strong recovery is around the corner in 2002, but economists caution the war is still the wild card. Dan?
Anthony Mason, next here on the CBS Evening News, Eye on America. The U.S. now has 1,000 detainees in the hunt for terrorist links. Is this wise? Is it legal?
Well, you're going along, feeling fine, when it hits you. Diarrhea. Alone, it's bad. But with gas and cramps, too, you've got big trouble. But now there's new Imodium Advanced Caplets, the only one that combines 2 medicines to stop diarrhea, cramps, and gas all at once. In no time, you'll feel A-OK again. New Imodium Advanced Caplets. Whew, what a relief.
29, 30. 30.
Now at Red Lobster, you can get 30 mouth-watering shrimp for just $9.99. Red Lobster, go overboard.
Your eyes need nutrition as well as the rest of your body, so Centrum and Centrum Silver added lutein to help maintain your precious sight. Now your eyes, your toes, and everything in between are covered by Centrum and Centrum Silver. More complete from A to Zinc.
I feel like it's crazy here. My family always eats in shifts. There's the twins first, home from school, then there's soccer practice. My daughter, Doreen, she's off to work. Then my husband comes home. He's always late. Thank goodness I found this new kind of dinner roll from Pillsbury.
From the freezer.
I just take out what I need, 2 or 10, throw them in the oven, and bake them up in minutes. It's perfect because I have everything ready whenever they decide to show up. Authentic home-baked classics.
In the freezer.
I don't know what I'd do without them.
Hello, Mrs. Lindsay. William?
Hello, Stephen.
You're not by any chance computer shopping, are you?
Mm-hmm, if I can get some help.
Well, right now, you can get a complete Dell system with an Intel Pentium 4 processor, which is so nice, for only $899.
Really?
She's intrigued. Excellent. Because right now, you don't have to make any payments for 90 days. And as far as service and support, Dell's won more awards than any other PC company in the last 5 years. Just call or go online. Tell them what you want, and right to your front door comes America's favorite PC.
Thanks, Steven.
Now you can get a Dell desktop with an Intel Pentium 4 processor, which delivers performance where you need it most. And 6 months of DellNet by MSN Internet access for just $899. Call or go online today and make no payments for 90 days. There's great deals on notebooks, too.
Dude, you're getting a Dell.
Easy to buy, easy to own, easy as Dell.
In tonight's Eye on America, context on Attorney General Ashcroft's latest moves to nail suspected terrorists. More than 1,000 people have already been detained inside the U.S. since the September attacks on America. Some are being held without charges. CBS's Richard Schlesinger has looked beyond the numbers to bring you the faces and facts.
Within hours of the September 11th attacks, 7,000 federal agents began sweeping across the country, rounding up hundreds of suspects in a huge national dragnet. More than 1,000 people have been held, many to this day, on minor charges, sometimes with no charges.
I think they cast a net that was too wide. Too many people arrested, most of them having nothing to do with this case at all.
After the largest criminal investigation in U.S. history, authorities now say fewer than 10 people being detained are suspected of having any direct link to the attacks.
As someone we took in North Carolina when we first met each other.
Most of the detainees are like Ali al-Makhtari. He's a citizen of Yemen, arrested when he and his American wife Tiffany arrived at the gates of Fort Campbell Army Base in Kentucky. Tiffany was in the Army and in uniform at the time.
When they started searching us, they separated us.
Tiffany was also taken into custody and interrogated for more than 14 hours.
They asked me bluntly, they said, "Do you think your husband is a terrorist?" And I said, "No." Even to the point that I was laughing because this is ridiculous.
She was released, but she was so angry she asked for and received an honorable discharge from the Army. But her husband remains in detention, and even his lawyer has trouble finding out any more than that.
All the INS will say is that they're not able to say anything.
When you call them and say, "What's going on with my client?" what do they tell you?
They say, "We're not at liberty to release that," or "We've been instructed to hold him."
Civil liberties groups are increasingly alarmed at the unprecedented level of secrecy in this investigation. Many of the detainees have been moved around the country, kept from communicating with their families and their lawyers.
Security experts know the Justice Department roundup is unprecedented, but so were the September attacks. Retired FBI agent Skip Brandon says extraordinary measures are justified by extraordinary times.
If you don't cast a net like this, do you let somebody slip through? Do you let the next suicide bomber slip through? That's the dilemma.
And there's another dilemma. The government now has to decide where to draw the line between guaranteeing American security and guaranteeing American civil liberties. In New York, I'm Richard Schlesinger for Eye on America.
FBI Deputy Director Tom Picard, who has run the day-to-day investigations of the September 11th attacks and the anthrax cases, said today he will retire at the end of November. Picard had planned his retirement before the attacks, but stayed to coordinate the wide-ranging investigations. No replacement has yet been named. A surprise plea in Los Angeles today in a case linked to a domestic terror group back in the 1970s. Sarah Jane Olson pleaded guilty to possession of bombs with intent to murder police in connection with the radical Symbionese Liberation Army. That's the group that kidnapped newspaper heiress Patty Hearst in 1974. Olson's lawyers expect that under this deal, she'll be sentenced to maybe 5 years in prison. Ahead on the CBS Evening News, Americans adopt new trick-or-treat traditions for a new kind of normalcy.
Heartburn? Give me a cold one.
Introducing Tums Cool Relief with unique Friva crystals. It gives you an immediate cooling, soothing sensation in your mouth and throat. You can feel the chill while it knocks out heartburn fast.
I could really use a cold one.
New Tums Cool Relief with calcium. Feel the difference.
When dentures dream, they see the perfect denture cleanser. One with the stain-fighting power of Efferdent and the freshening power of Listerine. Well, little friend, dream no more. It's really here. It's called Efferdent Plus. It's extra fresh, and nothing gets your dentures cleaner. Efferdent Clean and Listerine Fresh. That's Efferdent Plus.
It seems like only yesterday. When I started skating at 8 years old, I never thought I'd experience the thrill of winning a medal. With all the great memories has come another thing I thought I'd never experience, the pain of osteoarthritis.
Vioxx is here, a prescription medicine for osteoarthritis pain. With one little pill a day, Vioxx can provide powerful 24-hour relief. Vioxx specifically targets only the COX-2 enzyme, a key source of arthritis pain. People with allergic reactions such as asthma to aspirin or other arthritis medicines should not take Vioxx. In rare cases, serious stomach problems such as bleeding can occur without warning. Tell your doctor if you have liver or kidney problems. For more information, talk to your doctor about once daily Vioxx for the relief of osteoarthritis pain.
Perhaps my biggest victory is to be able to plan my day around my life instead of my pain.
Ask your doctor if Vioxx is right for you. Vioxx for everyday victories.
Ziploc containers test number 3. With our new divided containers, a sandwich, salad, and brownie doesn't turn into a brownie salad sandwich. Ziploc, all you ever wanted in a container.
Folgers Decaf. Really good coffee.
John's life changed forever when a jetliner slammed into the Pentagon.
He said, "We can't get out this way." And I said, "Yes, we can. Just follow me."
Tomorrow, John's heroic story, near miraculous recovery, and belief in his country's will to win. Eye on America on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
President Bush made a U-turn today on a controversial policy decision concerning the environment. He will now accept new and tougher standards issued in the final days of the Clinton presidency on the amount of arsenic allowed in drinking water. This, of course, is Halloween, a day when fright is manufactured for fun. But this year, like so much else, it is different because, as CBS's Bob McNamara reports, fear and anxiety have become a very real part of American life.
Today, just the sight of a jetliner overhead, the sound of a siren, even the morning mail.
I used to love getting the mail.
Brings suspicion.
Now it's not an enjoyment anymore. It's really not, it's more of a chore.
Fears of anthrax in his mail have political science professor Alan Sachs washing his hands after opening it.
Deep down, there's that apprehensiveness, that fear a little bit, I think, that pervades all of us.
The anthrax scare has the Dallas Fire Department's hazmat team answering 10 times more calls than normal, and each a false alarm. But if Washington wants to show Americans the way back to normal, fear is a tough strikeout.
I think now the unimaginable has happened, and so people can imagine almost anything.
Solid steel construction.
A Dallas gun shop sales and firing range training have doubled on anxiety.
Today it's anthrax. Tomorrow it's some other threat. What is it? Where will it stop? How far will it go?
Halloween in some parts of the country could be hollow. These Texas trick-or-treaters made their rounds during daylight. Some parents afraid to send kids out tonight.
The children expect Halloween, and this is a way we can always guarantee they're going to have it.
A climate of fear frustrates both mayors.
Why don't we just stop celebrating anything? Let's not leave our homes. It's ridiculous.
And mothers.
You have to go on and not be afraid. Otherwise, we're all lost.
But tonight, some Americans are feeling lost, and the road back to a sense of security could be a long one. Bob McNamara, CBS News, Dallas.
Wonder what's going on in your local public schools? Take a look.
Teachers, parents, and support professionals are working together to make learning come alive. Teachers inspire our kids to reach new heights, whether it's helping students master the alphabet or explore new worlds on the computer. Our teachers are leading the way. Today, more than ever, we need public schools that work for every child and to teach the values that make America strong.
Morning, guys.
Hi.
Hey, morning.
Like to see how your cereals stack up the total?
Sure.
To get the iron in 1 bowl of total, you'll have to eat 2 bowls of cornflakes. For folic acid, try 4 bowls.
That's a really big spoon.
Want zinc? 10 bowls for you.
What's so funny?
Nothing.
Nice bowls.
Total has 100% of 11 vitamins and minerals in just 1 bowl.
We'll take the total. Sure. And give Junior the check. What?
Total Raisin Bran, Total Cornflakes. 1 bowl, 100%.
I'm every man.
And every woman who ever suffered from frequent, persistent heartburn.
If you've treated your heartburn and changed your diet, but it comes back 2 or more days a week, then you may know about the burning pain of acid reflux disease.
But there's something about acid reflux that I didn't know.
Over time, that acid churning up can wear away the lining of your esophagus.
I didn't know.
I didn't.
But today, there's a purple pill called Nexium. It's from the makers of Prilosec. Just 1 prescription Nexium a day gives many people complete resolution of heartburn symptoms.
That could mean complete heartburn relief.
And importantly, Nexium is also proven to heal erosions in the esophagus caused by acid reflux. Only a doctor can determine if you have this damage. Other serious stomach conditions may still exist. The most common side effects of Nexium and Prilosec are headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. So talk to your doctor and call this number for more information and for a free trial certificate for Nexium.
Relieve the heartburn, heal the damage. It's possible with today's purple pill called Nexium.
Once you pass 50, skincare's a whole new game.
L'Oreal introduces age-perfect anti-sagging and ultra-hydrating treatment.
Because mature skin has issues all its own. It starts to sag, loses resiliency, and needs more moisture.
Age-perfect actually improves skin's resiliency, tightening its network as it deeply rehydrates. So effective, 83% of women reported more resilient skin.
It's a major breakthrough for mature skin.
New age-perfect anti-sagging and ultra-hydrating treatment, only from L'Oreal.
Because you're worth it.
Coin 6 News gets some straight answers tonight about the Portland Water Bureau mess. Will they spend $15 million on a new computer? We'll see you at 6.
In our evening news end notes, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, released its latest 3D image of Lower Manhattan and the World Trade Center disaster site. The area was mapped by aircraft equipped with a laser radar device. Such images help engineers and recovery workers locate buried foundation structures, elevator shafts, and basements. And it's been 46 years since the moon was full for trick-or-treaters and other things that go bump in the night, as it is this Halloween. And it won't occur again for another 20 years. You could say it happens only once in a blue moon. And that's part of our world tonight. I'll be back here on CBS shortly with 60 Minutes, too.
It's been too dangerous to see the damage under Ground Zero until now. An extraordinary first look tonight. And the anthrax warning that was missed. One of the first victims describes how he became sick and how no one realized what was wrong.
60 Minutes, too. That's tonight at 8, 7 Central. We invite you to join us then and again tomorrow for this, the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. See you soon on 60 Minutes, too.
For news 24 hours a day, CBS.com.